Hey everybody, it's Mordecai from Queer Universe, and today's video I thought I would do a little bit of a Q&A. I've always been fascinated by doing those, and I know we don't have like a lot of people to send in questions and stuff, which is completely fine. I just really love the idea of doing it, and what better way I thought than by doing this because I saw not a mutual, because I follow them on Twitter. They posted this for LGBTQIA plus people to answer, and it's like 40 questions. And I thought, why not? So, let's begin. And yeah, my phone's gonna go off because I didn't feel like muting it. So sorry. Not sorry really. It's mostly so I can know when my partner messages me. Yeah, I have a partner. I might talk more about that in a future video. Anyway, first question is, do you prefer using labels or explaining your identity? So, when I was 15 was the first time I came out. And it took a bit, because sexuality and gender are both hard AF. But labels have definitely helped me. I know people are like, oh, you shouldn't, like, want to have a label because people are going to put you in a category anyway, just by society standards. But it really does help because, humans communicate through language. The video, Basically I'm Gay by Daniel Howell, he explains this a lot because people, want an answer from him about his identity. And he's like, all of these flags are kind of daunting and just having to choose, I guess, like a word to describe his identity, which he does end up doing, but at the same time he doesn't really want to identify in such a confining way. For me, I personally love that we have labels and like just different words to explain things that seem so foreign, but are able to help us understand ourselves better. And that's just the first question. Well then, 2. Who am I sexually attracted to? Not anybody really. I'm asexual. I do have a sexual attraction, I guess, to the character Remus from Sandersides. That will be my exception. That was a really weird process for me to realize that, like, hey, I'm attracted to this fictional character. Which I've been before, but, like, I'm not gonna get too feral on here, but, ooh, fuck. Whoops. I'm trying my best not to cuss, but whatevs. Okay, number 3 is, who am I romantically attracted to? My partner, Boa. Like, they know I'm aromantic, and I message them on and on, and one thing led to another, and they're like, oh, we have a mutual crush. I'm making this really vague because I might do a video all about that in the future, so yeah. Anyway, Boa. What is my gender identity? I am sorry, that's from the question. I am trans non-binary. I do not identify with binary. I think the binary is really confining, despite liking labels. Some days I feel more masculine than others, and some days I just feel like a formless blob. And I do identify as a formless blob a lot. Thanks, Dan. Thanks. But, yeah. Just trans non-binary. I still, like, go by he, him pronouns, and call myself trans, just because, like, I'm one of those people who are non-binary who like the term trans as an umbrella term. Yeah. Have I come out to someone in real life? If so, how? I've come out to a lot of people. I am 22. I'll be 23 in November, and the first time I came out was when I was 15, and what grade would that be? 8th grade? Was I 7? Was I 13 in 7th grade? I think. Okay, so around that time. Yeah. But, came out when I was 15 as first pansexual, and it took me like about a year or two to find out I was ace because of Tumblr. So yeah, that's fun. Number 6, Do I consider social media a safer place for LGBT people than in real life? Yes. I honestly do, because while I have a lot of LGBT friends in real life, I say that, but like I don't really interact with a lot of people because of anxiety, but just on social media platforms, people are more accepting generally. I found so many different people online, of course. The internet is a nice, interesting tool that helps us communicate and connect with people. But without the internet, I wouldn't have found out what asexual meant. I wouldn't know that I'm trans, because, like, yeah, I had heard about it growing up, but, like, I didn't know the in-depth detail about it, or gender dysphoria, until Tumblr. So, yeah. Tumblr is kind of problematic, but, like, there are safe spaces on every social media that I have been a part of, and I am a part of quite a bit of social media. I really like being online. Who was the first person I came out to? Ever? I wanted to say it was my mom, because, like, I'm just so inclined to do that, because, you know, tell her everything. Or I try to, at least. Sorry. But I think it was actually my friend Carly in high school. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Does my family know? Yes. What's cool is that, like, once I had my name legally changed, because my mom's still getting used to it, I asked her if my stepfamily knew, because she divorced my dad and married to somebody else. And, like, I grew up around his family, and I asked her if they knew about me being trans, and she's like, yeah. And I'm like, the name change? And I'm like, yeah. And I asked, like, how they felt, and she's just like, they don't really care. Which, it sounds bad, but hear me out. Like, I've been the rainbow sheep since, like, coming out, basically. But, apparently a family member, like, an extended family member, came out as a lesbian and left her husband. So the family's focused on that instead of me. So I'm just here taking a breather. Like, I'm sorry about her having to deal with that. It sucks. But, you know, that sounds really shitty, but I don't know. I don't really know that person that well. I hope the best for them, though. Did I question my identity for a while, or no right away? I did. I've talked about this a bit, but when I was 8, I told my dad, my biological dad, that I was a boy, and he told me, no, someone else is telling you that. And so I just kept it to myself, repressed it for years, for almost a decade. I was 17, so 9 years. And that's when I stumbled across Tumblr, and like, gender dysphoria, this is what it is. And I was like, that's what I've been feeling this whole time when I try to wear feminine clothing and try to look more feminine, is like this disconnect, this really gross feeling in the pit of my stomach. Isn't just like a generic, ugh, I don't like being a girl because boobs and periods and stuff, but like, I'm not the gender I was assigned at birth. What? So yeah. Yeah. Am I still questioning? Technically, it's like, I've been trans since I was 8, but you know, the whole repression bit, the whole non-binary thing was a bit of a struggle, just because, oh, there's that too. I'll get to that. It's my sexuality as well. But for my gender, for the non-binary thing, because like, I was so adamant about only going by he, him pronouns, and I felt really bad about going by they, them as well. But the professor that I've talked about on this channel, I think a few videos ago, if not the last one, the one that kept calling me she, her, even though I said he, him, or started calling me just Mordecai as my pronoun, I was just like, you know, they, them is fine. If that will get you to see that my pronouns are different, and you need to respect that. But I come to the realization that I just don't identify with binary. And it took a bit to realize that. And then my sexuality, I didn't feel like it was appropriate to identify with queer, because, you know, there's all this discourse about asexuality not being part of the LGBT community, which, I mean, I am a part of the LGBT community, fight me. But watching Dan's video, and he's talking about how he identifies as queer, like, he doesn't care what flesh organ you have between your legs, and, like, technically I don't either, because, you know, I'm a sex-neutral asexual, so, whatever. Just as long as you're, you know, compatible with me, which, you know, didn't think was going to be a thing until I started dating Boa, which is amazing. I have a lot of feelings about this new relationship, and it's amazing. Excuse me. Okay. If I'm gay or lesbian, do I think using the F and D slurs is okay if they're used by gay men and lesbian women? Since I identify as queer, I like to say that I'm a gay man all the time. And I've called myself a fag all the time. So I think it's fine. I mean, because slurs can be reclaimed. I get why people are so unwilling to, like, call themselves something that was used derogatorily. But, you know, words change. Their meanings change throughout years, throughout centuries, and I mean, there are certain few that will remain as they are, but most are as fluid as our gender and sexuality, so yeah. If I'm trans, do I think all trans people are allowed to use the T-slur, knowing it's trans women who are usually called the T-slur? I've used the T-slur a bit, and I'm refraining from saying it, even though I didn't refrain from saying faggot, but, I don't know. I have weird history with this. Like, I've never been called a tranny. I just said it. My bad. But, I've never been called that. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm trans. But then, now that I realize that it's trans women who are usually the target of this word, I don't use it anymore because I'm not a trans woman. That's not for me to decide whether I should reclaim it or not. Is being LGBTQIA legal in my country? And it says don't mistake it for equal marriage. There are still a lot of places in the United States where you can get fired for being trans. Just for being trans. So I'm gonna say maybe. Because, like, it's just says, well, it says LGBTQI, I was about to say gay, but yeah. Lesbians and gays are more accepted. Everyone else, not so much, which is unfortunate, and we need to get our shit together. Is equal marriage legal in my country? Yes, it is. All 50 United States. How did I find out that the LGBTQIA community exists? So my first instinct is, like, Tumblr, totally, but, I mean, I grew up around gay people, and bisexual people, and just everyone else of the LGBT community. I'm not sure exactly of their identities, because more people are some people are more open than others. But yeah, like, I grew up around that. And then the internet was a place where I started to find out about more identities that aren't as talked about. So, yeah. Was I ever queerphobic or transphobic in the past? I don't think so. Like, I've never really been a phobic person. Like, of course, there are really problematic things that I did when I was younger that I've changed my behavior on. I mean, I just used a slur that's not directed at me accidentally. But, you know, we're growing from that. Yeah. Do you think coming out should be a big deal, or something subtle, or something combined about that? I keep looking at my room because Haley's knocking down stuff from my closet, I think. I have to look at that. But, it's up to the person, because it depends on your situation. This song, Spectrum, by Boy in a Band, featuring Makes 'Em Cry, that I absolutely adore. and that I believe is like my anthem for the LGBT community and my struggles through it, or with it, and my identity, is until you find the friends and family that support you, until you're independent, you need to hold on. And like throughout that song, there's like, you know, you can't just think that, oh, they'll accept me. Some people are going to kick you down just because you're different. And not everyone is accepting, even in this day and age, which is unfortunate. And also, some people are going to reject you at first, but then come around. So, you never know. And it's really hard to tell sometimes. So if you're in that position, of course, you shouldn't feel pressure to come out. But if you do feel like you're in that position where you can come out to your family, it just depends. If you want to make it a big deal, make it a big deal. Like, I'm super proud. Or, you know, just keep it low-key. For me, I wanted to be proud from the beginning. And sometimes I was made to feel like I couldn't be proud of it because, you know, you're a marginalized group. But, it's not something to be completely ashamed about it. Of course, you're going to have days where you feel like, oh, my life would be so much better if I were like cisgendered or heterosexual. But it's who you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry, I was looking at... Oh, okay. Does having celebrities out and proud help you deal with the cons of being LGBT? It just says cons. I don't know about the pros, but I've always found it helpful to have celebrities out in the open, or like people in the public attention coming out, being helpful to me. And like, I'm an adult now, but even like with Dan and Phil and Eugene Liang, and I believe I'm gonna get his name wrong, but that rapper, Old Town Roads, it still has mattered to me because, you know, there's still so much that we have to go. Like, our fight's not over just because, oh, the United States has legal marriage and other countries are following suit. There are still a lot to go. Like, I remember from Dan's video that, like, people in England are still, like, fighting over whether people who are younger, like, I guess, underclassmen, what was it? Primary school, I guess. How, like, people are fighting over whether they should be taught whether or not to accept people who are LGBTQIA. And you should. It's like, you know, you wouldn't treat anybody different, or you shouldn't treat anybody different because of, like, the color of their skin. Of course, there are some places that are still that way, which is really shitty. Get your shit together. That's not for me to talk about, because I'm not a person of color. But yeah, just, people are different, and we need to be accepting of that. Okay, so this one's a bit controversial. Oh wait, no, I skipped a question, sorry. Then they'll be, okay. Does LGBTQ erasure on television and films affect you? Yes, because I'm transgender. I just started watching Orange is the New Black, and I got so invested. Like, I usually don't get into shows that quickly or, like, that intensely. Because, like, if someone tells me, oh, you need to watch this right now, I'll be like, meh. But, like, I just decided that I wanted to watch it. And, the character, I don't remember her name, but the one that's played by Laverne Cox, and she was denied her estrogen, I was just pissed. And, like, they used the T-slur, and we're like, oh, she's just a man doing whatever. Like, no, she's not. And, like, I'm still in season 1, but, like, oh, that pissed me off. And, like, it's good that they touched on, oh yeah, she needs her estrogen because, you know, HRT and stuff. And how, like, what's going on? And how trans people, like, need their hormones if they are on hormones, and, like, how they're supposed to be on it for life, or unless they decide to get off of it. So yeah, erasing that, or, like, making jokes about it, is really just offensive, for lack of better terms. Like, you got a bit of a ways before you're gonna show it in a better light. Okay, controversial. Some LGBTQ people care about certain shows and characters only because they're LGBTQ. Do you think it's true? In a sense, only because I keep mentioning this about Dan and Phil because I'm wearing Dan and Phil merch. And I love them. They're one of my first YouTubers I started watching. They're making a big deal about fans who like just stopped watching Dan and Phil because of the inactivity, because the gaming channel stopped and Dan wasn't uploading, and people are demanding him to go ahead and upload and all that junk, and like just an influx of people came in after basically I'm gay, and then I don't know about coming out to you, Phil's coming out video. But yeah, like to me personally, because like I didn't stop watching them, I didn't stop loving them, I've been conditioned to wait for like years for new episodes of my shows, so I'm just like, you know, it's gonna be fine. So yeah, for me, if I find like an LGBTQ person in a show, I'm of course gonna like latch onto them and be like, this is my child, leave me alone, I identify with this person. So. Okay. This is the funniest question, and you'll see why. Well, funny to me, but it's still serious. What's your opinion on asexual and aromantic people discourse on whether they should belong in the community? Actually, there's more. Don't you think everyone should be accepted by the single most accepting community? Remember that someone isn't straight if heteroromantic is if heteroromantic and asexual. Of course, we are a part of the LGBTQIA community. The A does not stand for ally. The A stands for asexual, aromantic, and agender, abrosexual, and every other asexual identity like demisexual, demiromantic. We're here, we're queer, we exist. So, yeah. Just accept us, dude. Like, this society is just so fixated on sex, and just calm down. Like, yeah, sex might be cool and all, but like, have you ever seen your favorite, like, actor, actress, YouTuber, comedian, whatever have you, like, decide to put their own needs in front of what everyone else wants? Like, for personal growth? Okay, I'm not drinking the rest of that. There was a fly in my fucking milk. Bye! Okay. Not like I needed that anyway. Okay. 23 is controversial as well. Cool. Do you think trans people are sexist when we want to look like a certain gender using certain gender stereotypes to pass to others? I do not think so. Because, I mean, gender dysphoria, however you experience it, it needs to be managed in a way that makes sense for you. Whether that mean looking and acting exactly like a cis man or cis woman in the binary, or being androgynous, or like, you know, wearing makeup as a dude, or doing manly things as a woman because, you know, you're non-binary, gender non-conforming. Whatever you feel is gonna help you identify as you. That's not for anyone else to really, like, put their 2 cents in, I think. And, like, I used to wear a lot of suits. Like, I would just love to dress up for no reason. I kind of got put out of that because of the thing that happened on campus. It wasn't that big a deal. It just really got to me. But, I loved doing it, and it helped me feel more masculine and more confident and comfortable, so. Am I friends with more LGBTQ or cishet people? LGBTQ. Without a doubt. As soon as I got to college, I found the LGBTQ group that was on campus, joined it, and made friends there. My best friends, 2 of them are asexual. One of my new friends is lesbian. One of my other best friends is trans, like me. Just, yeah, stuff like that. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Because, like, we need to stick together. Whether, like, we disagree or agree and stuff, like, we're a community and we need to stand together. 25 is my opinion on the LGBTQ education at school. Needs to happen more. We need to have open conversations about sexuality and gender. If we did, I wouldn't have been as confused as I was as a freaking 16, 17-year-old dude. Like, come on. Opinion of heteronormativity and its effects on LGBTQ people. It's bullshit. Just point blank, because of how it tries to diminish our existence as asexual, aromantic, and agender people, like, all in that spectrum. And, like, how people are like, oh, you don't like sex, how are you gonna, like, ever have a relationship? Or you don't like a relationship, how are you ever gonna, like, go in life? Like, people have themselves to look after. Or, like, they even have platonic love, like friends, family, pets. Like, there's more to life than sex. Just calm down. Do I want to publicly date someone of my gender but can't because of society's response or law? No. Because I'm out and proud. I know my partner has some stuff, like, I'm not gonna talk about their personal lives, but, like, I know that they have pressure from their family and stuff. But, like, I don't feel like I need to hide that I'm dating somebody. Like, we're both gender non-conforming, so, you know, I love them, so, you know. Have I had any trouble making friends with people who aren't LGBTQIA? A bit, just because, like, a few have been like, oh, you know, you're gay, that's cool, just as long as you don't hit on me, you know, that old freaking stereotyper shtick. Like, you're just, you know, hiding your bit of homophobia, but whatever. Or, like, they'll make transphobic comments, like how I'm in anime club and people talk about traps. Was that the other T-slur? Yeah, that was the other T-slur. Okay. That T-slur, ugh, no. I'm only saying it here for context because, like, like me, I forgot that that was another T-slur. My bad. Sorry, I was looking back to the question. But, I was like, oh yeah, well, saying that T-slur in anime club has gotten really bad. And, like, I stood up for that, and someone asked me, they're like, was that, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't feel like we should be using that word. And they're like, why? You're not a trans woman. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, people need to be stood up for, whether or not I'm a part of that community. Okay, next. Have I accepted myself? Yes, definitely. Like with the question about, am I afraid to date someone openly because of society? Like, no. I'm who I am. I'm queer, I'm ace, and trans, and, like, I'm open and out, and just, I've come so far. And I'm finally starting to like myself. Sometimes I have, you know, I have regression, or I have relapses. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, you know, you're your closest friend, and you're here for you. And that really helped. Am I an LGBTQ person of color? No, I'm not. So I will not be answering that. Do people around me use slurs such as T, F, and D because they think it's funny or offensive? As I've said, with the anime club, they haven't really been saying it as much. Because we haven't had those members who are saying those slurs come back, which is good. I won't go into that too much because one of them is personal to me. Yeah. Not as much anymore. Okay, so next. Okay, trigger warning for homophobia, transphobia, etc. Has anyone abused you for being LGBTQ, verbally or physically? If so, what if? Was it safe to reach out for help? It was safe to reach out for help. I had a partner who I will not name because it's triggering to me. It was one of the people. It was the person who asked me, like, if I was offended by the T slur that was used in Anime Club. But, they were like, if you start T, you're gonna be, like, aggressive and stuff and have, like, really impulsive anger and lash out at people. Just trying to make me feel, like, bad. Like, the cons would outweigh the pros of getting on testosterone and transitioning. And, I mean, I'm not a violent person to begin with. Like, before I got on T and post T, I'm still not a violent person. Like, sometimes I have my days, of course, but, like, I'm not gonna go out and beat somebody up because we have a disagreement. Like, bruh, I'm mostly a pacifist. Who was my queer awakening? I don't really know, because I was so confused until, like, I was 15. And then, like, I just piled on crushes of dudes. I guess that might have been, like, me being like, oh, I'm straight. No, totally, no. Or I'm cis, totally, nope. But, yeah. I just want to say Dan, because I love that man so much. But, yeah. Opinion on pride parades. I love them. I do. My opinion on straight pride doesn't exist. You're not a marginalized, oppressed group. Get your shit together. You have more privilege, and you need to be using that privilege to help your LGBTQ brethren. Or siblings. Okay. Have I ever been to Pride? Has a parade happened in my country? I'm pretty sure it's happened in the States. But yeah, I've been to 2 prides so far. The last one wasn't that great because someone, like, made a fool, or tried to make a fool of me and my service dog. So yeah, that was fun. Do I ever think people should come out if they don't want to help other people understand their sexuality? No. It is not your job to be an advocate. If you want to be an advocate, it's fine. But it's not your duty. And sometimes, you know, being an advocate, and some people, like, that could really wear on their mental health. And I am really, aside from saying advocate, I'm really a believer in you need to put your own mental health first, because no one else is going to do that for you. And, like, it's such a delicate thing that you need to treat with seriousness. Have I ever been in a relationship with someone of a gender I was not attracted to because of heteronormativity and queerphobia? Yeah. I'm seriously thinking. Just because, like, I live in Arkansas, one of the southern United States. Conservatives and Christians everywhere, and white supremacists still, and Nazis. So yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to die very young. I was part of the LGBT community, but now I'm just like, I have a death wish. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be open and proud. There's some issues with that, but, you know, I have a therapist. It's all good. Sorry. That's why I needed the milk, but no. Fucking fly, I had to get my drink. as chocolate milk because it doesn't fuck my stomach up as much as regular milk. Is it cool for you if someone changes their labels constantly? Yeah, because I did it all the time. Which led to my mom not taking me very seriously about me being trans. I mean, I understand now. But yeah, like, sexuality and gender are confusing as fuck, as I mentioned before. And it's a journey. Sometimes you have a shorter destination than others. And, you know, sometimes your labels, like your pronouns change constantly, like me going by he, him, and they, them, or people going by he, they, it, or just going by it, its, or they, them, ze, them, any of that, you know. Is that? Oh, okay. I thought there was another question. Oh shit, I skipped a question. Of course I did. That's just old Morty fashion. Have I ever pretended to not be LGBTQ to satisfy others? Technically, yes, because I was 15, actually no, 16? Yeah, around that time. And I was dating a girl, and I was with my stepfamily and my mom, so we went out to family vacation in Florida. And we were talking about, or they were talking about how, like, oh, we're gonna get you to, like, marry this person or whatever. It was really something kind of racist-ish, racially charged, about Hispanic people. I don't remember exactly because it was years ago, but, like, it was just really weird. I was like, I'm already in a relationship. And I was like, yeah, I have a boyfriend. I'm like, no, I have a girlfriend. And the very last question, because there's like a billion others that could be asked here. Am I proud of myself? Honestly, I am. I've come so far from this meek, insecure person to this person who's trying to be an advocate for the LGBTQ community, who wanted so badly to be a geology major, but, like, is considering going into teaching just because, like, you know, older English professors and teachers are like, they, them is plural and never been singular. Like, it's always been singular. People go by it, get used to it. Let people use they, them. Like, I'm proud of what I want to do for myself, not just others. Like, I do love people pleasing, and I do love doing things for others, because the world's a shitty place. But I really do feel like I could be a good teacher, a good advocate for people who need it, like I did. And, you know, my childhood didn't fail me. There was some hard stuff, like anybody, with a few exceptions. Some were more unique than others. But, you know, with the whole LGBTQ acceptance, could have been definitely easier for little old Morty. And yeah, right now I'm about to start my last year of college, well, undergrad if I decide to go to grad school, which I probably won't. I'm tired. I guess pursue my teaching license. I might actually end up going to Germany. I don't know if I want to teach English to German students. But yeah, like, not just because of my sexuality and gender that I'm proud. I'm proud of how far I've come as a person, how far I've grown, how much I've learned and have put into my life. There was a person I went to see with my mom. I won't mention the exact situation. But, she was like, you're really a reflective person. I'm like, you know, I've been through a lot of shit. And it would be remiss of me to have all these experiences and just be like, meh. I'm not gonna learn from any of them. I'm not gonna, like, let them soak in. I'm not gonna take lessons that need to be applied to my life. Like, that would be foolish. And I think about a lot of stuff. I have intrusive thoughts that sometimes are like, hey, you know, you're worthless. Like, no. Actually, or stuff like that. I'm like, you know, I have to remind myself it's going to be okay. And like sexuality and gender-wise, getting more specific and back to the topic, I am proud of myself for finally deciding I'm going to get on testosterone, and I'm going to change my name legally and pursue top surgery and a hysterectomy, probably bottom surgery. I'm still thinking about that, even though it would upset my mom, because, you know, I have to put myself first, and it took a while to figure that out. And it was a hard lesson to learn. It was one that I needed to learn. And I'm still learning it. It's still hard sometimes. But yeah, I'm proud of you, Mordecai. From technically past Mordecai to future Morty. I love you. And you're a great dude. You're a great partner. You're a great animal parent. You're a great student, great writer. You're just pretty fucking cool, man. Don't forget that. So yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and if there are any other questions that, like, you want to ask in the comments or that you want clarified, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I will link to Parker's line of questioning that I got from Twitter in the description below. Now with that, I will see you in the next one.